think we're live.
Oh, we're all right. Awesome. I got a little bit of a delay, so hope we're gonna get my mug here. Oh, I see it now. Perfect. I'm gonna like it. There we go.
Okay. Should I like it too? I'm gonna like art.
Might as well give us no humility over here at Nerd Fitness. We like our own posts. Yeah, I see it. I see it popped up. Okay, we are good. We are good. Hey everybody, it is Coach Justin and Coach Lauren here talking about some Nerd Fitness nutrition, part of our Nerd Fitness Kitchen live streaming series. Last Wednesday, Coach Karen and I talked a little bit about mindful eating, and today Coach Lauren and I are going to talk a little bit about kind of leveling up off of that mindful eating and adding a new practice in for the coming week, which is going to be protein and veggies. And I'm saying practice because I think when we view something as a practice, it gives us an opportunity to fail, and it's okay. It's part of the process, is where maybe we're trying to learn and do something new. So we're going to be practicing protein and veggies throughout the week, and we invite you to kind of make it something that you're doing throughout the week, and include us in the Facebook and in the Discord. Let us know how you're doing with it. But today we want to cover a few things about this protein and veggie habit. We'll go over what this practice includes, why protein and veggies are important, how much protein and veggies to try to get at each meal, and then answering a couple of frequently asked questions and talking about some of our favorite ways to get protein and veggies with the majority of our meals. So this practice, it includes protein and veggies at each meal, like I mentioned. It's a great way to keep improving the nutritional quality of what we're already eating, and it encourages us to use our planning and preparation skills and problem solving skills as we're trying to figure out what to go grocery shopping for, how to plan and prepare meals ahead of time, or maybe how to get protein and veggies as we're dining out. So I want to pitch it over to Coach Lauren a little bit and let us know, why protein and veggies are important as part of our diet.
Well, veggies, I'll start with that since I'm a plant-based person. I feel like a lot of us know that veggies are good for us. We've heard we're supposed to eat our veggies. We may not understand fully why they're so good for us. So veggies have a lot of volume. They have a lot of bulk. They are very low calorie. So veggies per pound are about 150 to 300 calories, somewhere in that window, depending on what you're eating. But we're not eating pounds of veggies, right? So that's like,
hey, good luck with that.
A lot, right? And so if we start with something, simple, saying making half our plate veggies at every meal, you've just taken that much volume on your plate for a very small amount of calories, and you've sort of, moved the needle on your calorie deficit. You've just made it really easy now to stay within a range that you want to stay in. The other reason, they fill us up. So they're full of like fiber, minerals, vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, all of those things that you're not going to get in other places. And things like herbs, they count as veggies. So it doesn't just have to be like eating carrots or something like that if you add a bunch of spinach and herbs to a meal. But they fill us up. They're high volume, and fiber is really important too. So protein, is equally great at repairing our muscles and helping us, build muscle while we're working out, and also maintain our muscle if we're trying to lose fat and be in a calorie deficit. But the veggies are going to give you an extra fullness. They're going to give you that more volume to keep you full as well. And they're also going to give you the fiber to help move everything through your digestion.
Super valuable and important.
Super valuable. Because if things are not moving, like, not to get TMI, but if things are not moving, then we've got a problem. And you could eat all this great food, but you're really only as good as what you're able to absorb. So if you've got, think of your digestive system as this, really long kind of racetrack that just keeps going. If stuff is not moving through properly, you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel bloated. You're going to feel, lethargy. You're going to feel all those things. So the fiber, the veggies give you the fiber. And think of veggies as I like to think of it as like a broom that's just sweeping out all the stuff out of your system.
Oh, I love that.
Um,
I
yeah.
love that. Poop game strong over here at Nerd Fitness. Definitely. I
That
went
needs to
there.
be
I went
like a
there.
t-shirt, Nerd Fitness, poop game
Poop game
strong.
strong. Steve, Lauren, if you're watching, t-shirts need to be made. That's the next thing we're doing.
It's
Nerd Fitness
funny.
poop game strong. So, anywho, I love that, and I love the way that you present it as like half the plate. If you can fill up half your plate with veggies, it's like a pretty big accomplishment and a nice, easy way to look at it versus like weighing and measuring veggies or making it super difficult. It's like, hey, I've got a plate here. How can I get half a plate of veggies with this one? That's super awesome. In terms of the protein side of things, also with like the veggies helps with is great with satiation. I've noticed a lot of my clients too when they mention when they're getting protein at the majority of their meals, whether it's plant-based or animal-based, whatever their personal preference is, they've noticed that they're satiated more throughout the day, and just feeling better in general. It's something like maybe less cravings, less snacking whenever they're adding getting protein with the majority of the meal. Something that you're noticing as well too, or?
Yes. I have a few clients right now that very recently have told me that by adding, increasing the protein, increasing the vegetables, they feel fuller longer, and they almost didn't notice that they had stopped snacking because they weren't thinking about food. So really important to like make sure that we're eating enough. That's the other thing with veggies. Like they're so low calorie, it's easy to under eat them and not really, you can eat veggies till people say till the cows come home. I don't know where they're coming home to, but you can just keep eating veggies and it's not going to really you can't overdo it. They're so high in fiber. It's hard to overeat vegetables. But they definitely like help curb appetite, help, keep us feeling energized and everything, and definitely curb the snacking for sure.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed. I actually just was on a call with someone earlier today about snacking, challenges with snacking and stuff like that. We were going over some things, typical things like boredom and stress and whatnot, but we kind of dove a little bit deeper into it. And we noticed that not a lot of protein was coming in and veggies were coming in at each meal. And that was an adjustment that we had made. And it seemed like that helped with the snacking more so than like working on boredom and stress and whatnot. So that subtle shift in their meals was such a game changer for them. So it's very cool that we're both noticing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a good lead in. So this is how much, I'll pitch it to you, Lauren. How much protein and veggies is like a man or a woman typically aiming for here per meal?
So you can go for men, you can go like use your hand and do 2 palms for guys. So, and people are like, well, why a hand? We're all different sizes, right? So it kind of works out automatically based on the size of your hand.
Patty cake here.
And then women, one hand, one palm. Cool. Yeah. Veggies, I know I've seen like certain recommendations of like 3 to 5 servings a day, or some people are 5 to 7 servings a day. I say as long, if you did half your plate at lunch and half your plate at dinner, you're hitting your servings.
I like that.
For veggies. So you don't have to worry about like counting out cups of stuff. And you're probably going over your servings if you do something like throwing a handful of spinach in with your smoothie in the morning and you're having half a plate at lunch and dinner. You're definitely getting your veggies in, but I think that's like an easy way to think of it.
I like that too. I love like the half plate idea, like you mentioned earlier. I think it's awesome. If it's something you are struggling with, the serving size is kind of like start with where you're at. So regardless of maybe like the portion size, if you're struggling to get protein and veggies, just make it an effort to start with maybe one meal. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit of protein, a little bit of veggies right here. For those of you that like numbers and more like getting more specific, about 2 palms is about 40 to 60 grams of protein. And so 1 palm would be about 20 to 30 grams, like roughly. That's going to vary, based on the size of the person, like Lauren mentioned. And about a fist or 2 fists of veggies is usually around 2 cups or so, or about a half of a plate, like you mentioned. And then one's probably around a cup for anyone that likes more of the tracking and numbers and stuff like that's watching. So I know that one question that pops up fairly often for me, Lauren, I don't know about you, is I always get asked, do you need to get it in 30 minutes after a workout? And it's not super important. The amount of protein you consume in a day is more important than the timing of the protein. Have you noticed anything differently? That's what, whenever anyone asks me about that, that's all I mention. It's like, if you can get it in 30 minutes after, hey, awesome. If not, I
Yeah.
know for me, I feel weird eating right afterwards. So I like to take my time, but
Yeah, I think if it's something you can do without it adding an extra stress or, pressure to yourself of like, oh, I've got to make this thing and now I have to cart it to the gym with me so that I can eat it right after. Like, don't worry about that.
mm-hmm.
If it's easy enough for you to do and it's something you want to do, go ahead and try it. But the only thing that I found personally is that if I do eat within kind of like a 45-minute window of after workout, I notice that my appetite tends to be a little more chill for a while after that versus if I work out really hard and then say I'm not going to have a meal for 3 hours, I might end up hangry at that 3 hour
Nice.
point. So sometimes it's like if I remember and I can do it, I'll eat something within probably within like 45 minutes after. That's small. It could be something really small, or even just do like a protein smoothie or something like that. But that's the only thing I've noticed for myself is appetite. It helped that a little bit. And when I was, not in the gym right now, but when I was in a gym, like lifting consistently, I noticed it did help with recovery speed the next day with soreness and stuff like that, getting it in.
That's a great. I'll have to pay more attention to that as well too. And I think that's a great lead into that too. Is it's how important it is to just experiment based
Mm-hmm.
on you as an individual and just explore what works well for you and to try it. Hey, let me see if I get some protein and veggies in, 30 minutes after an exercise session or something, or let me see if I wait longer and see how I feel.
Yep.
Such a great reminder of experimenting. We're all a little bit different when it comes to these things, so play around and find out what works for you. Another question that pops up is, should I be taking a protein shake or using protein powder? It comes up pretty often with a lot of my clients. I'm sure some of yours as well too, and some of the other coaches as well. I always approach it as, hey, it's up to you. If it is something that you want to add in, I always recommend, they'll always ask, I always get asked about my favorite ones. I don't really have a favorite one, but to try sample packets that you can grab at the grocery store. You can contact the companies directly just to see what sits well with you and what you enjoy and what
Yeah.
you like versus investing in like a big jug. But I do use a protein powder pretty regular, and I'll go into it later along with you as well too. I know you use it in a meal for yourself, but it's kind of like a staple of a breakfast meal for me. So I do always have one at home. What are your thoughts on kind of like the whole, should someone have a protein shake and whatnot?
I think, like you said, it's really up to the individual. Things to consider. One, like you said, it could upset your stomach. So
Mm-hmm.
some protein powders have multiple proteins in them. If you've got allergies, if you have celiacs, anything like that, you just want to read the label before you order something like that, because you might be insensitive or sensitive to something there. And if your lifestyle is such that you're not going to have that ideal meal where it's half veggies and protein in this and you need to get it in, it's a great quick method. It's almost like I call it my health insurance to have a
Yeah.
smoothie with protein, because I'm like, okay, now I know I just got all these vitamins and minerals and protein and I'm good. Even if I have to skip lunch or I have to push this meal later, I'm okay right now. So that's a benefit. It's good on the go. But as far as like boosting performance or something like that, I think if you're very active and you're going for gains and stuff like that, it can be beneficial. If as recovery, it can be beneficial. But overall, I really think that you can get the amount of protein and things you need from food. That's like the ideal state, ideal conditions. So it's good to have these other options that we can work in and have more variety with. But it's really up to you and your lifestyle, what your goals are, and just try it. Like Justin said, if you're curious, you've never tried it before, try one for a week, get some
Mm-hmm.
sample packets, see if you do feel different, see if you do notice that you're less sore, see if you notice a change in appetite, and just make notes of it and then go off it for a week and see how you feel.
Yeah, I know for the majority of us, if you're eating 3 meals a day and you get the serving sizes that we talked about earlier of protein per meal, you're probably going to be just fine and dandy and not going to need to add anything with it. I know as plant-based eaters, do you notice that if the protein is a little bit lower sometimes and it can kind of help a little bit with something like that, or maybe not even necessary, like you mentioned?
Yeah, I think just getting adequate calories for your goals. So if you're able to do that with food, plant-based, you don't need any supplements or powders like that. Or, the bars, I know like bars are a big thing, but it's like they can quickly turn into candy bars, all those
Yeah,
different protein bars out there.
glorified candy bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you should be able to get everything from food being plant-based. If you are trying to like really bulk up, again, and it's, you get tired of eating a certain meal and you're like, I just want to, drink this or whatever. That's fine. It's not, I think, like Justin said, you can get it all from food. You just sort of have to pay attention to what you're doing. There's a learning curve with it and, with your goals, and it's a process and it's a practice, it's where we try it, we experiment with it, we see what works and what doesn't.
Absolutely. And guys, definitely keep the questions coming in. We'll always get back to them usually after the stream and answer anything that comes in. It's usually a little easier at post live stream, but don't worry, ask any questions you have down there. We'll make sure to answer it for sure. And I know we wanted to go into some of our favorite ways to get protein and veggies at each meal. And I want to share a couple of mine, and Lauren's going to share a couple of hers as well too. And I think we've got some similarities as well. I know for me, like a staple meal, especially for my breakfast, is unsweetened Greek yogurt with mixed with that scoop of protein powder in the mornings. I don't put veggies in it because it seems like it would be weird. So I'll usually go to berries, which I feel like is a really good substitute sometimes, especially like in the mornings if I don't feel like having vegetables in the morning, which can sometimes be just depending on your taste buds that morning.
Yeah.
So like some raspberries or something to throw in there and mix. It's one of my favorite ways, and it takes like a minute to make. So super go-to. In terms of veggies, I'm out. A couple of the community members here have given me a hard time because I'm out here in California. They make fun of me because I do microwavable veggies from like the steam packs all the time. They're always busting my chops about going to the farmers markets out here in California, buying fresh veggies. I am so lazy when it comes to this. It's ridiculous. So the easier I can make this on myself, the better. So I'm always doing frozen veggies, especially the steamable bags. It's like my go-to veggies, and they're easy to travel with. I swear, I put them on in my backpack on airplanes, and as I'm flying, and it's worked out a couple times. So.
The frozen veggies in your backpack?
Yeah, like the steamable ones. A couple times I've been asked about it, but it has worked for traveling purposes on like domestic flights. But anyhow,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I mentioned, subbing low sugar fruit sometimes for veggies is a nice little swap for me, like the berries and whatnot. And other than that, really big fan too of like pre-cooked proteins and raw veggies, especially. I think we're all kind of like busy right now and have a lot going on. So I'm always trying to brainstorm and find ways to make this process easier on myself. So I've got it here. These are like staples. A can of tuna, which will be in there forever, but it's kind of like in the case of an emergency. If anyone wants to give me a hard time, I love sardines. And I have sardines here and I keep them up here. And these last until like 2023, which kind of scares me. But at the same time, they're going to be up there. I can use them in an emergency. Rotisserie chicken or pre-cooked chicken. And I'm a huge raw veggie fan as well too, whether it's celery or carrots and whatnot. All of those things make my life easier. They're kind of go-to staples for me. So Lauren, what about for you?
So my two go-tos for breakfast, I either do a smoothie with spinach, parsley, banana, and a protein powder. And so and I go like handful of spinach. So that counts as my like protein veggie right there. And then my other go-to breakfast is I do about a third a cup of the old fashioned rolled oats and protein powder and some berries and have that. And that one, I tend to go with more because I find it more filling and I stay full longer than with the smoothie. But that's breakfast. And then like this morning I did something random and I just made a tofu scramble. So I just had a block of tofu, like throw it in a pan, salsa, turmeric. I put it like salt and pepper and nutritional yeast to make it like a little cheesy. And I threw on some vegan cheese and just like, scramble it up and basically just heats up the tofu and it's all chopped
Mhm.
up. And then you can eat that in a bowl. You could put it in a tortilla and have a burrito. But that gets in, extra veggies with spinach, and it gets you the protein with the tofu. So that's a quick one for breakfast too. It only takes a couple minutes.
I like, I'm hate animal protein, but I love tofu as a substitute every once in a while because it really takes on the flavor of whatever you want it to, like your seasonings or however you want it to taste. That's what it's going to taste like. So it's such a
Mm-hmm.
cool option to go into, whether you're a plant-based eater or not. Like I love tofu myself. So
Yeah, I did tofu for a long time, and then I discovered tempeh, which
mm-hmm.
I was like, what is that? But that's actually like fermented soybeans. It comes in kind of like a long rectangle that's shrink wrapped, but that has a nutty flavor to it. But it acts similar to tofu where it takes on flavor. So I'll keep a lot of tempeh in the fridge because that lasts a long time, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of stir fries with like, veggies, teriyaki sauce or soy sauce and tempeh. So that's always like a go-to protein veggie meal for me too.
I love it. Yeah, having those go-to meals, like uniform meals that you can just are easy for you to grab and make. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Always such a key to have on hand. So, which is good lead into how do you practice this habit, the protein how do you practice this, the protein and veggie practice? Think of it as kind of like a game or a challenge to try. Like how kind of brainstorm. How could you get protein and colorful plants at each meal? If you have an opportunity today, maybe spend 15 to 30 minutes and just brainstorm and think about it. If you're watching the stream right now, you don't have to, but give us 3 meals you're confident you could eat this week that have protein and colorful plants with them. 2 that you can make and 1 that you could maybe even order out. So in case that's something that you need to do. If you can't, comment below and add it in. It's just something to think about and brainstorm later in your day, later in your week, and write that down for you. So it's kind of like an easy go-to list for yourself when you're not sure, maybe you've got a lot on your plate. You can just pull it up and boom, you know what to do as it pops up. Lauren, any additions on that of how to like kind of practice it?
I like kind of making it like a game, because it is a practice. And if you just remember, if you don't do it, it's not a big deal. Like, don't assign a value to it. It's just a practice that you skipped or you didn't do it that one
Mm-hmm.
time, right? So I like the game idea. Also, with you mentioned dining out and takeout and things like that. It made me think of my go-to takeout for that is any Asian restaurant, they usually have a section of their menu that says diet menu, and they
Mm-hmm.
always have mixed steamed vegetables. And when all the frozen veggies were gone due to the stay-at-home thing, I ordered like 4 mixed steamed vegetables from the local restaurant. And then I had my tempeh and I just put it all together really quick. So that was like a
Awesome.
super easy, so little things, kind of like think outside the box. What do the restaurants around you have that you could order, even if it's side dishes of veggies? That's an easy way to go for stuff.
I think it's something, I think Steve might have mentioned it, and maybe another streamer, maybe someone else did too. And what you just mentioned, super important of like front loading some of the work, especially if you do like to eat out or do social meals out, which I do too. I love going to a good sushi restaurant or something like that. Front load some of the work, some of your favorite places that you love to eat, and kind of scan that menu, predetermine what you could get when you go to these places. And it makes the process so much easier on yourself. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That's a really good point. Before we go, we want to leave you with a couple parting thoughts. One is just to identify like your 3 favorite protein and veggies. Make a quick like little list, just your favorite 3 to 5. You don't need to get crazy or broad with this. More simple we can make this, probably the better. And to create 1 to 3 kind of go-to meals around those protein and veggies for yourself. And then, like we mentioned, identify a few places you like to dine out and research those meals and front load some of the work and decide what you can get before you go out. Any parting words of wisdom from you, Lauren?
Eat more veggies. Just eat more
Poop
veggies.
game strong. Poop game strong.
Yeah. Poop game strong. Nerd fitness.
Very cool. There you hashtag. Yeah. Okay. We should probably end it right here.
No, yeah, stop.
Hey guys, if you have any more questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. We will answer every single one that comes in. Thanks for letting us spend our whatever morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're joining us from. And take care. You guys enjoy your day.
Bye.